Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. In the last session, we discussed about the two paintings which talked about the glory of the age of industrialization. I have given you an assignment based on the discussion. You have to complete the assignment. Now, let's move further. The first chapter in this lesson is Before the Industrial Revolution. Before the Industrial Revolution, what was the scenario in Europe and how the industries were functioning? That is what we are going to see. Now, we often relate industrialization with big, large factories. But there was a time when production was not taking place in big factories but in villages, which was known as domestic units. The period before the first factories came up in England is known as proto-industrialization. In Europe, the merchants from towns started moving to the countryside. They supplied money to the peasants and artisans living there in the countryside to produce goods for the international market. As you all know, European countries colonized other countries. So the demand for the goods increased. So these merchants moved to the countryside. Why did they move to countryside? Because they had the associations, the union of producers, which is known as urban crafts and trade guilds in the towns. Urban crafts and trade guilds. These urban crafts and trade guilds, it was an association or an union of producers. They got permission from the rulers to trade in specific products. It was difficult for the new merchants to set up business in towns. So the merchants, they started moving to the countryside. And in the countryside, the peasants and artisans, when they got money from the merchants, they started to work for the merchants. Now, I told you that even before factories began in England and Europe, large-scale industrial production for an international market was taking place, which was not based on factories. It was done in villages, which was known as proto-industrialization. Now, urban crafts and trade guilds. Now, it was an association of producers and it trained craftspeople. It trained them in the particular craft that they are going to start that business. And this association maintained the control over the production. And it regulated competition and prices among the traders. And it restricted the entry of new people. So, when it restricted the entry of new people, the merchants started to go to the countryside. Now, did you understand the connection? Why did they go to countryside, the new merchants? And in the countryside, the peasants were suffering because the common lands have enclosed. So, when the merchants approached them, they readily accepted to work for the merchants. This is how this system created a bond between the merchants in the towns and the peasants in the countryside. Now, what sort of system is this? Let's get into that. Now we can see that why did the peasants and artisans begin working for merchants? The open land disappeared, common lands enclosed. Peasants had to look for alternative sources of income. The tiny plots that the peasants had could not provide employment for all the members of household. When the merchants came and offered advances to produce goods for them, they readily agreed. So the advantages, peasants had some advantages. So they can remain in their own place, the countryside, and continue to cultivate the small plots. All the family members were involved in the work activities, and it supplemented their shrinking income. So this is what the advantages the peasants had. Now let us get into the process of making and selling cloth. Now, a cloth merchant in England purchased wool from a stapler. Who is a stapler? A person who sorts out the fiber, that is the wool. He was known as stapler. So, from the stapler, a cloth merchant, the fiber, who sorted the fiber according to its quality, who was known as stapler. From stapler, the merchant purchased wool from the stapler. So after that, the wool was taken to the spinners. Spinners, they needed the special skill to spin the wool into yarn. So thread was spun. When the wool was taken to the spinner, the thread was spun. From the wool, it was made into thread. The next step, the thread was taken to weavers. It was taken to weavers and fullers. Once it was taken to the weavers, weavers wove it into cloth, and fullers, what was the job of fullers? They gathered the cloth by pleating, arranging, and the next process in that was taking the cloth to the dyer. After this, when all the processes got over, the cloth was taken to the finishing center, which was London. The finishing of cloth was done in London. That is why London was known as the finishing center. And in this process, every merchant had 100 workers under them. Every merchant had 100 workers under them. So you can see merchant clothier based in town. He bought wools from a wool stapler and carried it to the spinners. Spinners spun yarn, and the spun yarn was taken to weavers and then fullers and then to dyers. And after this, the cloth was taken to the finishing center, which is London. And there, the merchants met with the export merchants and sold their cloth. In turn, export merchants sold the cloth in the international market. This was the process. So the whole system is known as proto-industrialization. You can understand that in this system, large-scale production was taking place in the countryside, not based on factories, which was meeting the international market, which was meeting the demand of the international market. So this system was known as proto-industrialization. Now, so this is what proto-industrialization. Let us check the next topic in the next session.